All right, thank you very much. We are back in Dokkan, and we got your boy LRCell out here looking fresh as hell. Got the drip with his boys, arms crossed, looking nice. That's a nice pose. That's a signature pose. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something right now. This man Cell is a swagger jacker. This man stole that drip. This man stole that pose. That's not the originator. That's not the person who engineered the beauty of that pose. There you go right there. There you go right there. Piccolo Jr. Look at the shoulders. Look at the arms. Look at that big ass head. This is the man who engineered the drip. Now, technically, Piccolo Jr. technically does not exist in the game anymore because he was one of the strike characters that were just abandoned. There was a couple of strike characters. Him and Kibito Kai come to mind. Rest in peace, Kibito Kai. You and that big face. Oh my god, he looked like a pit bull. That just got abandoned. They never got a super strike. They never really got their time in the sun. And I like Piccolo Jr. the most. He was always my favorite strike character personally. And I guess Dokkan just kind of gave up on the concept of having more strike characters. I mean, obviously there's other game modes. There's other things to do. But I don't know. I kind of find it weird that they just completely dropped Piccolo Jr. They completely dropped Kibito Kai. Kibito Kai especially, dude. When Kibito Kai came out, I think he came out one time on Global and then disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he fused with Supreme Kai and they just became that, amalgamation of retardedness. But you know what? I'm going to put some respect on Piccolo Jr.'s name. I'm not going to leave him in the dark. I'm going to show you the power of this man. We got to go to Super Battle Road. And we're off. So, as I said, unfortunately, Piccolo Jr. pretty much was dropped off the face of the earth with Kibito Kai and anyone else who may have existed who I completely forgot about. I really do wish that they would have tried to keep the whole strike character thing going, because obviously, as someone who's played this game for eons and eons, the strike characters aren't exactly the most interesting cards, and they don't even have a purpose anymore, because it used to be that you could only use strike cards to do certain events, but then they just made it any formable cards, and then for the strike events themselves, they used to have it where it was only free-to-play cards. Now it's just anything, which is kind of cool, but I don't know. It's just weird because it's almost like they completely invalidated the whole point of a super strike, but I don't know. It just kind of seems weird where they had this entire concept and this thing that they had as an existing kind of like a game mode, kind of something to get a new card, and they completely dropped it on the floor. I think it'd be interesting if they actually got some type of a reimagining of that, or at least kind of keep it going, because I know obviously there's the super strikes that exist now, which a lot of people have. Look at that, bro. That's a beautiful super tech. Which a lot of people speculated and kind of hope that those strikes get an easy at some point in time. But I feel like Dokkan in general, I don't know how big their employee base is. And the reason why I say that is because when you think about Dokkan, it's, a game, obviously, but it has a lot of different facets and it has a lot of different things. And I would imagine that certain individuals own certain things. So, for example, Super Battle Road, I would imagine there's someone or some team or some entity that has worked on that to a degree of, kind of a high degree where they're comfortable working on that and they implement that, they make updates for that. And that's the same thing with the Quest. I imagine some group of people work on the Quest, which, by the way, has not been updated in 2 years. And I feel like they just really need more employees or a different restructuring as an organization where they have some people work on, Super Battle Road, some people work on, certain events and try to split it up more. Because I feel like more and more there's things that are just dropped on the floor. Like Heroes versus Villains was a pretty cool concept. It'd be cool if they kept that going. It'd be pretty cool if they kept the Super Strikes going. But, I say this as someone who doesn't work there, because if I was working there, I would want to keep things going the same way they've been going and be like, chill, I don't care. I just want to relax, have fun. I don't like change. As stupid as that sounds, I just don't like change at all whatsoever, because even at my company recently, they were talking about, they wanted us to start, we mostly write microservices, and usually what happens when we write those microservices is that some of us will, write the source code. Some of us will write the integration test. Some of us will do, like, some kind of like deployment testing in AWS just to make sure it works. And it pretty much has gotten to the point where recently, like for the past 2 sprints, we were working on the same unit of work. So I was working on something while someone else was working on something. So I had source code to contribute. They had source code to contribute. Same thing with another project with 2 of my other coworkers. And if you ever worked with people, especially like on the same project and you're touching the same classes, at the end of the day, at the end of the sprint, there's going to be a merge happening. And for this past 2 sprints, the merges were pretty ugly, just in terms of assimilating stuff, but then also the planning of what we were doing. We didn't really sit down and plan it out where we're like, all right, I'm going to take this approach, I'm going to do this, and someone else is like, I'm going to take this approach and do that. And basically what ended up happening is that 2 of my coworkers were working on the same thing, and they had wildly different implementations of the same thing. When it came time to merge, that shit did not merge. So literally the past sprint was just fat as hell, us just figuring out what was wrong and what we needed to fix. And what was funny is that we actually, dude, that, you know what's crazy is like, this is the thing too, like we need to get better as a unit in terms of realizing how time consuming stuff is, because a lot of times like you just think about something that you've done already and you're like, yo, that's super easy, like this is going to take 2 seconds to do, like that's dumb easy. Which isn't always the case. Sometimes things do take time. The reason why I mention this is because last Thursday, there was a new service that we were updating, and I was like, and I looked at that shit, and I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of updates. And the thing is, when you do anything with software, I fucking hate updates. Like, if something exists, please don't change that shit. Because once you change it, guess what? You updated it, that means it's completely different. When you update something, it is no longer the same. Now you gotta retest, reconfigure, redeploy, then retest, and it's time consuming. That shit takes eons. So last Thursday I brought up, I'm like, listen, we're doing all these changes, you know, this might get done Monday or Tuesday, you know what I mean? And right now I'm trying to deploy this to our production space. I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, and it seems like we're going to be in a rush. Like I said, that I think it's going to be a rush, and they're like, yo dude, don't worry about it, super easy, probably get that done today or tomorrow, da da da. Long story short, it didn't get done that Thursday. It didn't get done the next day, that Friday. It didn't get done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It got done Friday at 12 p.m. 2 days ago is when it got done. So I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And it wasn't really done because it's kind of like a rush scenario where we didn't really plan it out. So like, there were things that were not taken into consideration. The dev changes were done. Someone who was making the changes made the changes. But then I had a branch with integration tests that weren't merged. I had all this bullshit. So it's basically, imagine if you're doing a group project, but 3 of the members are waiting on you to finish your part, and then you finish your part, and you're like, I bet, I'm chilling, I'm leaving. See you later, alligator. And then you hit the dips, and then everyone else is just sitting there with their fucking dick in their hand going, please, why? Why did you do this to me? Why? So it was a rushed deployment. Friday, recently we started using AWS's code pipeline, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically their solution for deploying software. It's kind of like a different version of Jenkins, and oh, dude, that code pipeline, cancerous, dude, so disgusting, because like when you deploy shit, if an error occurs, the code pipeline is just stupid as fuck. Like, it doesn't know what it's doing. It's just, dude, I deployed something. I looked. This is what happened. This is what happened Friday, right? I'm rushing. I'm making all these merges. Update this. Do that. Oh, shit. This didn't work. Boom, 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 boom. I'm putting everything together. It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, oh, I finally got done like 4:45. I'm like, holy shit, dude. I want to fucking, like, and I didn't deploy it. So the deployment is the most annoying part, because that shit never goes right. I listen, when people ask me, they go, does everything look good? I always say, yeah, it looks pretty good, because you think it looks good. You think it's all Gucci. You think it's ready to go out there. It's never ready. Even when you're ready, it's not ready. No matter what. You got to take in at least 1 day of fuckery in order to deploy something. So that Friday, it was like 4:45. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, let me get the builds going. And the way that our repository is set up, you got the develop branch, goes to sandbox, got the master branch, that goes to staging, and eventually that piece of software will go to production. So I'm like, all right, Betty. Dude, I was so happy. I was hyped. I'm like, ooh, I'm a 1,000 IQ type of guy. What I did was, this is the beauty. I did the merge for develop. I did the merge for master, right? And I know that shit is going to take 20 minutes for develop and 40 minutes for master. Again, code pipelines, it's really, like, I like it when it goes right, but the fact of the matter is that nothing's cached, everything builds, and it's like so fucking slow. It's like, gee, oh my god, it's like, dude, it takes an hour. If you make a mistake, it takes an hour to just rectify. So that is a precursor, because Friday I went home 4:45. You hear me? And I'm like, yo, I told my coworker. Everyone else left early, by the way. Everyone else already hit the tips. Everyone else was like, gotta go, bye. So I'm like, ugh. So I ended up leaving. I told my coworker, I'm like, yo, right now that shit's building. I'm gonna go home, be Gucci, right? And this is what I do. I do this a lot. Is that I'll drive. Dude, I'm telling you right now, when I'm deploying something or like I'm getting something done and we gotta push it to that final push, I can't think about anything else but that. Like, I can't fucking function when shit is not out properly. So I'm driving home Friday. It was like after traffic was like 5:30. I was getting close to my house. I'm like, yo, this is how my brain is like on some other level shit. Before I left, I signed into TeamViewer. Don't tell TeamViewer. This is not used for official business use. It's just personal use. Please don't sue me. So I signed into TeamViewer on my home PC, VPN to my work PC. I got the build set up. I'm like, yo, Betty. So I'm almost on the way home. I pull over on the road. I check my phone. I'm waiting to see everything green. I'm waiting to see click build to deploy, right? It wasn't green, bro. That shit was not green. That shit was black and blue and everything else in between, but not green. So when I got home, what I thought would have been a genius move where I'm driving and everything's fine, didn't work out. What ends up happening is this, right? Again, this whole fucking AWS code pipeline shit is like infrastructure and software tied together. So what basically was the issue is that we have a database, right? And this new service, it provisions a database. It's a Postgres database. You give the definitions, the schema, etc., etc. So it already did that, but you made updates to it. Now, when you update the database, you need to do one of two things. If it has data, you need to alter it in order for the changes to mesh. Or if there's nothing in it, in this case, you could just delete it. So what I did was I tried to delete that shit, but in the world of AWS, they don't give a fuck if it's deleted or not. It's all about stack traces and connectivity. So I'm like, fuck. So what I had to do was I had to rebuild that shit, delete the databases, finally. Then I had to repush, and finally I got the deployment ready. But here's the thing. This is the thing that drained me. So, by the way, this is Friday at like 6 or 7 p.m. I'm like, ugh, I just want to play Call of Duty, dude, please. So 7 p.m., long story short, I finally get the deployment ready. It's ready to go. But here's the beautiful thing. Like I said, nothing ever goes right, right? So the intention was to deploy this with a Spring security lock. When you use Spring, it's a framework with Java that basically is some magical bullshit that lets your service turn into a web-based kind of like if you think of a model view controller, it's the view. So it's basically just taking a web request and then it puts it into the Java code and does a bunch of magic, and then it gives it back to you to the viewer of the application. It's not really magic. What it is basically that the endpoints for Spring map to functions in your Java. So I go to some endpoint, slash function A. You do that, and then it'll go to function A. The function does whatever you want it to do, and it returns JSON of information. But the thing is, we wanted to use Spring Security, and the idea was to put it on production in a locked state because we didn't implement security yet and just have it sitting there. So this is like 8 p.m. on Friday night, and I'm like, all right, finally. Now what I had to do was I had to redo the process, but now with the Spring lock. So I do the Spring lock. I'm like, bet. And if you use Java, usually use Maven. So I just do a Maven clean verify. I'm thinking everything's going to be Gucci. It's not Gucci. It's not fucking Gucci. Because when you use Spring's security, it basically makes it so that your application is locked, and unless you give a user and password, it's not going to work. And now when you do Maven Clean Verify, it's basically running through all your tests, and when it gets to the integration tests, because we're not implementing security, I'm not providing a user and password, so they were failing because it was unauthorized. So I'm like, oh my god, holy fucking shit. So now, at like 9 p.m. on Friday, I'm like, how the fuck do I figure out how to implement security for the application but ignore it for the test? So I'm like, dude, this is the bane of my existence. When you want shit to happen right then, right there, but then you gotta go to Google. You gotta go on a fucking Google adventure. You're like, holy shit, what do I need to do, Google? Just tell me what I need to do. You go to Google, Dog shit answer. Dog shit answer. Garbage. No one cares. Shut your face. And I'm like, why, God? Why is this happening? So what ended up happening is that for the next like 3 hours until 11 p.m., I was fucking debugging this, debugging that. I finally figured out how to ignore the security lock. And what's funny is that it was like 12 or 1 at this point, and I was getting shit ready to build and then deploy and go to production. And I actually fell asleep. I fell the fucking asleep because dude, this is the thing. This is the thing that's so frustrating about this is that, again, the AWS code pipeline takes 15 to 30 minutes to build shit. So I'm making these changes. I'm doing this. I want to go deploy. Oh, I gotta wait 30 minutes. So, I get a little sleepy. I'm on my laptop. I'm laying on my bed because at this point, I have no energy. I'm laying on my bed. I'm like, please, God, just fucking build. And I just see the build bar going. And then the next thing I know, I wake up and it's the next day. So it was yesterday, Saturday. And I'm like, oh, dude, my energy was on 0. Because my intention was to finish that shit, play Call of Duty, and then go to bed. So what ended up happening, I finally deployed it. I finally made it secure. And again, this is one of those things where it's kind of like a weird, I don't know why I'm even doing this shit, because the whole reason I was doing this is because a business analyst was basically like, listen, we got to push something to production. No one's going to use it. It's not going to be customer facing. We just need it for the business to see, and the business be like, yo, that's God here. We got something in production. So I did it. I fucking did it. So now there's something in production. It's sitting there. No one can use it. No one can touch it. It's not customer facing. And it'll make them more comfortable because it's in production. I don't know, dude. I feel like at this point, I did it just to do it. But I'll tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. I spent a lot of time getting drained by that. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Yesterday, Saturday, it was like a phoenix rising from the ashes where I was just loving it, dude. Yesterday, from 3 p.m. till 2 a.m., I was playing video games all day. I haven't done that in a long time because usually I'll go out with my friends. I'll do this, I'll do that, this, that, and the third. But, dude, I had so much fun yesterday. Like, I was just playing Super Smash Brothers, got off Super Smash, got on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Let me just say, I was on the fence with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I thought it was kind of okay, kind of meh. But they added a new map, God tier fucking map, Shoot House. It's a small map, can't camp as much. If you watch Blame Truth, the Blame Truth is like one of those OG Call of Duty commentators. He fucking hates the game just because everyone camps and the balancing for the guns are fucked. Which he's low-key right, but I feel like with this map, it's way more fun, it's way more better, and I was just playing video games like a fucking sicko yesterday, and I loved it, dude. I was just on that lazy fucking bullshit, but as you can see, I didn't even realize how time flies. Your boy Piccolo out here, he was represented. I don't need to speak for Piccolo. Piccolo speaks for himself, and also he does one of the best card arts in the game. But for the most part, feeling pretty good, feeling pretty lazy. It's always nice when I get some time off. Monday is Veterans Day as well, so I'm going to be chilling my ass off tomorrow. Piccolo, he's a handsome guy. I wish his strike was still around. I wish he got a super strike, and I also wish that he actually was in some categories, because this motherfucker, I looked at his categories, I wanted to kill myself. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's in the Namekians and World Tournament. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that, Bandai? But, hey, at the end of the day, what can I say? Monday, off. Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. Jesus, I need to fucking calm down. Is going to be a drain at my job. But guess what? Friday, November 15, I'm taking off. Pokemon Sword and Shield is coming out. Boomba clap wardum.